And welcome back. That's happened.
Oh no!
Oh no, we've all.
Piracy!
Oh no! I know, right? It's like it's marked as like content for adults. Cool. So we've just gone through our first day. So welcome back. If you're just joining us, we've just done the first day of school day. We've met some horrible, nasty bullies. I have to say, I'm hating Justin just using his voice. It kind of makes me angry. And he just reminds you of all of those dickheads at school, doesn't he? Really?
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
Blah. Blah.
I've never wanted to punch a voice so much. Yeah, because I don't want to punch you, Joe, but it's coming from you.
I know, or just punch me. It's fine. I can't feel it.
No.
I have to say, I'm already really loving Tunk's misconception of everything. It's very lovely.
Yeah.
Bless him. All right, so it's now. I can't remember the full days of Waterdeep because there are actual days. I can't actually remember what they are. So I'm just going on to Twitch and having a look to see what people have been asking. So Gary has been shouting, "Don't split the party." So thank you, Gary. I appreciate that.
There's Gary.
And also, Stuart, of course, Albus. Somebody is a friend of ours who I play with, Stuart. He knows Albus very, very well. So that's quite nice. And yes, Coram boy, but on Wolfback. Oh, that's a great. I mean, do we want to take this name? So we've got a name that's been suggested for Justin Malfoy, not Harry Potter. I know we said not Harry Potter. So I'll stick a pin on that one, and maybe we'll come back to it. But yeah, we'll keep it as Justin Dickhead for now. Okay. That's what we call him. So it is a Saturday-ish or a non-work day or non-school day, and you kind of rush to your breakfast, and you see Lena and Ash, a dwarf and a human, sort of sat there. And they've got this little cupcake with a candle in it, and they're kind of sat and they're waiting, and the candle's just sort of melting down. They're just saying. They open it and they just start eating it. As you kind of like wolf down your breakfast. What breakfast are you guys having? What do you reckon we're eating? Like porridge?
Porridge, yeah. Probably
Sludge. Some sort of nondescript beige something.
Yeah, it's horrible. And as you're eating, you feel this kind of like tugging on the side. You look down and Pug will say, "Hi, Pups."
Puggle.
I learned A, B, and C.
That's so good. So you must be top of the class.
No.
You're so clever.
No, I'm at the back.
Oh, I'm at the back too. So that's where the cool kids are. Yeah. Are you making lots of friends?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are their
lots.
names?
And he looks over and there's a table that look over and he's like, "There they are." And he waves at them and they all just go, "They're my friends. They're nice to me."
Yeah. What do they do that's nice?
And he kind of lifts his bowl and he's like, "They put this in my bowl," and you can see a Baggy. You instantly recognise it as a cockroach. It's like, "They're really kind. You gave me extra."
I think I'd eat a cockroach. I think that's lovely.
He picks it up.
No, don't eat it.
And he pulls it out, and it's like his body's hanging off. Like, did I hurt it?
Yeah, I think you did hurt it.
He kind of hands it over to you.
She kind of takes it, has a little look, thinks, "Yeah, that's done with," and kind of Maybe I feel like puts it in her pocket to sort of give it a proper burial later on.
Will you look after him?
Yeah, I will make sure he's okay.
And he like runs off. Oh, poor Puggle. Okay, so like the sun is sort of streaming through the stained glass as you're eating, and you're like as quick as possible. Tunk, is this what you usually eat? Are you used to this food?
I think Tunk is marveling at the fact that there's like a spoon on the table, and is like kind of like catching his reflection in the spoon, whilst with the left hand just kind of slowly like shoveling the rest of the porridge into his mouth, and kind of watching the glimmer of the sun kind of shining through onto the table, and is completely transfixed on the reflection.
I think maybe he's like drawing the light shaft on the table.
Yeah, like a cat would try and like hit the light and not understand that it's coming from the spoon.
Yeah. And Oshi, obviously this is not food that you usually eat.
So Oshi takes a spoon and she runs it round the edge of the porridge, and she might eat a couple of spoonfuls because she knows that Matron is doing like walking up and down the tables, but then with it she like scrapes the film off the top and goes to flick it.
Yeah, so let's have a look at Matron. So Matron's sister Pastine, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yeah, she's walking the. Make sure you eat. Make sure you eat up. Make sure you eat. And then she looks at you. And she's like, Oshi.
And Oshi goes to put the film, the skin which is hanging off the spoon, into her mouth, and then gives it to Tunk and offers it in front of Tunk's face.
Tunk quickly slurps it up and then tries to take the spoon away from her, realizing that there's another reflection of Tunk on it.
And she willingly gives it him and smiles at him.
And she's like, how much have you eaten today?
3 spoonfuls.
So you need to keep nice and strong. I mean, it is what, 3 months to your 9th birthday?
Yeah.
Big day. Big
Yeah.
Big day.
Yes.
As you see, this the school is only open until for 9-year-olds, and then after that, off you go into the world. Isn't that lovely?
Yes. Really lovely, Matron.
Good. And then she looks down at your bowl, and can you just do a quick sleight of hand for me?
Yes.
Let's see if this will work.
Hey!
Whoa. And as she looks down at the bowl is empty.
Nice.
As you've kind of like tipped it to the side while you were talking, like an absolute pro.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, very, very good. Keep yourself nice and strong. Keep your body strong. Keep your soul strong. And as she says soul, it's sort of like, she kind of looks at you for a second and it kind of goes back. It's like, good girl. Now,
Thanks, Matron.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
As she
you.
grabs a pint from the side of the... and you guys kind of like throw your bowls onto the trolley. And Tunk, you realise there's hundreds of spoons on the trolley.
Yeah. And tries to grab a couple of them, but Tunk has very large pickle-shaped fingers.
Do you want to do a sleight of hand and see if you get one?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask, Joe. Right, let's see. Tunk's got a solid 0 sleight of hand. Yes! A natural 1!
So literally, as you go pick one up, you kind of slip on the water that's been around from all the the porridges on the floor, and you just clatter into it. And then you just like, the laughter kicks up, but there is a missing laughter, of course, because Domino's laughter isn't there. But there is a laughter that kind of kicks up, and Matron comes over and it's like, Tunk, Bloodstone, get up, boy.
Not Tunk, miss. Tonks! And it kind of like points at all the reflections of Tunk in the spoons.
And she kind of like a mage hand comes down and picks you up and pops you down. And it's like, run along now before anyone sees.
So Tunk, just without thinking, just beelines for the nearest exit.
Okay, and you guys gotta follow after. They go out into the grounds of you go out into the grounds of the school, and it's not like a huge courtyard. It's quite a small. I mean, this is an inner city school. Actually, should we have a look see what the school looks like? There we go. This is a nighttime one, so it's a bit like nighttime. Ooh, yeah, exactly. And you come out into the courtyard and you see this kind of massive orc. Sorry, where's my orc? Groundskeeper, Grack. There we are. And you see this huge orc, sort of tending. He's got this kind of like that big skull thing he's got there. He's not really holding that. He's got like a little hoe, and he's just like cleaning up all of the grass. And he's like, let's kill stuff, blood and stuff, smashing heads, fists and stuff. He's sort of like singing like a little orc war song. As he's kind of going around, it's like, oh, children, and he sort of puts his hand up and waves to you.
Hi, Grack.
And he's like, Budgie, and he speaks in Orcish. And he sort of beckons you over.
Over we go. I feel like that Baggy would kind of want to say to him, we have this cockroach, and I'd quite like to bury it somewhere. Is there somewhere we could maybe bury him?
And he sort of takes it. Do you say this in Orcish or do you say this in Common?
I feel like I say this in Orcish.
Okay.
They have a yeah.
And he takes it. He puts his hand into his pocket, sprinkles a small amount of like dust. And it comes back to life and flies away. So,
Wow! Thank you.
Don't say thank you. Ever say thank you, Orc.
Sorry.
You can never apologize. Be proud, Orc.
Okay, I will.
It's good to see one of you, even if you are not one of me. And he kind of like gestures to the fact that you're kind of much more like half. You're not quite full orc, and he kind of sees that.
I lost it there.
Yeah, so cool. So he kind of sees that you're not full orc. Is kind of, but he appreciates that side of you. Probably more than you've seen from the human kind of parts that you've been living around. And he's like, I found something for you. And he puts his hand into his pocket and he pulls out like a jar, and inside is all of these little fleas jumping around. He's like, it's a present.
She takes it. She just studies them for a bit in awe, like wow, and probably counts them.
Okay, should we do a nature check with Budgie and just see if she kind of knows what they are and what they're for?
Yes, let's go, Budgie Kid. Oh, there it is. Nature.
Cool. So you see them as little dots for now.
Okay.
You just know them as dots in a jar, but you know they're bugs, but that's about it, really.
Cool. I feel like she might ask Grack what to do with them.
Maybe a circus.
A circus. And then I think I'd probably turn to... Oh, go on, sorry.
And he also leans down towards you, goes, or for enemies' bits.
And immediately she's thinking, yeah, I know some people who need some of these in their beds.
And he kind of like, excuse me, and he turns, banging heads and smashing stuff, blood and stuff, and he like, carries on gardening. You guys got to go out into this open green, and you see like his flower spot. And there's some beautiful flowers there. He's creating some gorgeous work. There's a couple of trees, and there's the fence, like a metal fence that kind of goes around the school. You know, actually, let's do a perception. Who wants to do a perception roll? Who hasn't rolled for a bit? Dan hasn't rolled for a bit. Let's do a perception.
Okay.
Just see how long it takes you guys to find a hole in the fence.
Perception. Boo!
Yeah. So
right.
It's more like you meander around.
What fence?
Yeah, literally. And you decide to kind of like, you find a stick, you kind of find a couple of sticks, and you start like reenacting the battle that you saw the day before. Yeah. And he's still... Yeah. And Pups turns into a sprinting zombie and starts running around doing whatever he wants. So what kind of things do you start to become? So let's talk about that. So what roles do you take? Do we take the same roles that we're going to be doing later on, or should we go like... So Pups takes... What characters does Pups take on this particular battle?
I think Pups takes the one of the Crown's Guard, one like the big or the City Guard, you know, in the chainmail and starts like going around with like a maybe he's got like a little shield and he's just with one on each side, but like marching around really squared off shoulders, like going sideways like this.
Okay, anybody else? What's somebody else decided to be?
Tunk, who has his father, who has told him of the great Brunar Battlehammer, a very famous dwarf, is trying to hold himself with some sort of like regality, as Brunar was a former king, but Tunk is very much doing what he thinks a king would do. So he's going like, you are Tugs. You are Tug's townsman. You go make Tug some food, and you go mend the sheep.
Very, very nice. And Oshi, who are you deciding to play?
Oshi, she thinks she's better than everybody here. So she would like to be an assassin, but all the twigs she picks up break every time she pokes them into Tunk, and she's following behind him trying to poke him, and they're all just breaking off. So then she runs behind Baggi.
Sticks each
yeah,
time.
she runs. Yeah, and she's carrying this big one, and then he notices and she hides, and then she runs behind Baggi and does the same thing and pokes her in the back.
This is the runs around trying to be a killer. Killer. Or as my partner would say, Natalie, daka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Baggi.
I think Baggi is kind of taking on the form of the orcs that she saw, sort of trying to get in with the rough and tumble, identifying with them a little bit more than maybe the others, because she doesn't think she's got very good. Like, yeah, she's just more like, ah.
Okay,
Definitely as well with Pups.
So we end up with these kind of like sticks and like stuff going on.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is all roll just a d20. It's a straight d20. So if you see there's like a little...
Wait, where do I do this?
Okay, so there's like a little dice. You see, there's like a menu bar. So just in case everyone's watching, we're using Roll20. So on here, there's a little like menu bar to your
Left.
And I love the way me and Gabby have to do that. And you see there's one that looks like a 20-sided dice.
Yeah.
If you click there, it'll give you the options to kind of roll. But we've already got... Okay, cool. So the battle ensues, and Pups kind of runs in like this, and instantly like goes to attack Tunk, and Tunk just turns and he's like, and he falls to the floor. As he kind of turns, it's just very much like a Three Stooges sort of moment. As he turns around, and Gavin and Oshi just smacks him around the head with a piece of wood. And then finally, Baggi just sort of trips up Oshi, and they fall to the floor, and they all start giggling. As Baggi goes, yeah, and becomes the winner of the little battle. Winner. And as you're kind of like celebrating, can you do a perception roll for me now?
Yes. Perception, yeah. Rolling.
Oh my god, you guys are never getting out of here. Okay, so let's do it a different way. So like, yeah, and you kind of walk backwards, and you trip over Tunk's foot, and you lean backwards, and you smack into the fence, and it goes, and like one of the bars sort of comes loose.
I don't think Baggi necessarily notices it herself. She's probably too busy. Like initially, she's probably too busy going before, and then maybe as she gets up and kind of pushes up, she realizes that there's something missing there or something broken. It's like, oh, that wasn't there before.
And you kind of see everybody else kind of notice it.
So
Tunk definitely doesn't notice it for sure because he knows that bullshit roll. But yeah, the other two guys, I'm going to give you kind of free rein if you see it.
So Oshi sees it and says, "Look what I found."
Well, no, I found it. I saw it. I was the one that hit into it, so it's mine.
You can't own a break in the fence.
Well, it doesn't matter because I touched it before you.
Well, it hasn't got your name on it.
Yeah, but it hit my head, so I'm touching it now. Actually.
Well done for having a big head. Well done.
And as you touch it, you realise it goes back a bit further. You're like, whoa!
Wow. What do you think's on the other side of that?
Have a look. Put your head through.
I'm not putting my head through there. What if the professor sees?
And then you look across at Tunk on the floor, going, "You mend a sheep." So, and the pair of you look at each other in that kind of scheming manner, and you kind of like walk over to Tunk. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you guys to do, one of you to do a persuasion roll with advantage.
It's going to be low, yeah.
And then we'll do the scene that happens. So we'll see how successful it is first. So you're going to do it with advantage, which means your highest roll is going to be the one we go with.
Okay.
Are you doing it, Evie?
Advantage.
Just roll it twice.
Oh, right.
Okay, Gabby's went for it. It's low anyway. It only needs to be a 10. And okay, so you hit with an 11, so that's good. So you kind of wander over to Tunk, and the pair of you stood next to each other.
King Tunk.
Yes.
Okay.
you know how you rule over this kingdom?
And Tunks look like slightly confused at the word kingdom.
King? You know how this is your land?
Yes, Tunks land.
Tunk's land. Well, we found a crack in the armor of your land.
A crack in the armband of my land.
Yeah, why not? Come over here.
So Tunk giddily gets up and follows Oshi.
And Baggy's already there at the hole, and
Think
kind of
so,
like,
yeah.
and as he comes forward, she says,
Yeah, look, it's just through there. It's broken, Tunk.
Broken? Are there sheep that need fixing?
I mean, there could be.
They've all got out.
Yeah, that's
So-
where they went. So
Having no concept of getting in trouble, Tunk quickly pushes the bit of the gate slightly into the further broken position, and runs through, going sheep.
and as you run out, you're into a busy street, and there's loads of people. And you're like, and you can see there's carts going past, and like people kind of talking to each other, and they kind of like don't even recognize you as proper city life, and like the mud on the streets kind of splashes towards you, and you kind of take a step backwards.
And slightly overwhelmed by the busyness and chaos of the street, Tunk kind of takes out the only spoon that he had left from the breakfast, and just starts kind of like rubbing it and looking at his reflection, going, "This is Tunk's land. This is Tunk's land."
And I think through that he grows in confidence.
Yeah, and comes back to the gap in the fence and goes, "This is Tunk's land. You must go fix the sheep." And points to the rest of the group to kind of like follow Tunk.
Very nice. Very, very nice. So do you guys follow?
hesitantly, but yeah.
Pups marches like a soldier.
Tunk goes, "Good doggy."
Yeah, I feel like Baggy's the last one through because she's only going to go through if she can see that no one is watching on that side. So she kind of waits for everyone else to go and then is like, okay, fine, I'll do it, and like eventually.
Yeah, so essentially you come onto Cook Street. Here. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see that the road goes up a little bit further. In the distance, just over the next row of houses, you can see the great castle of Castle Waterdeep, sort of on the hill above you. You also see Rain Run Street that kind of cuts across that cross section down towards the Yawning Portal. The street is extremely loud.
We
Lost you for a second there, Joe.
Oh, my apologies. The street is extremely loud. As you kind of see Rain Run Street and Cook Street. Did you hear that bit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Down towards the Yawning Portal. The street is very, very busy today, being a non-work day. There's shops that are open. There's like swill been thrown out onto the street. There's already drunkards out, and it's like 10 in the morning. People are already drunk, and of course the Yawning Portal is so loud right now. You can almost hear it from where you are. But you can kind of see that's the direction in which you can go. Or, of course, you can go back into the school.
Oshi takes a ribbon out of her hair and she ties it around her and Tunk's wrist so that they don't lose him.
That's really sweet.
Tunk kind of responds by taking a bit of like grass or a twig that was stuck in his hair and trying to balance it on between their shoulders.
but it falls off and falls into in Oshi's pocket, and you look down on it, and it's like this little flower that has dropped into your pocket.
Thanks, Tunk.
Tunk just kind of grins innocently, and then as a nearby truck carrying livestock kind of starts to gently bumble by, Tunk starts to sprint towards it, going, sheep,
just
dragging off.
Yeah.
And it kind of runs you. Actually, it does run you down Rain Run Street, and stops just outside the Yawning Portal Pub. Do the rest of you guys follow that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I grab Pups by the hand, or even by the wrist, just like, come on, because we don't want to get lost. We don't want to lose them.
Yeah, you run over to the pub. The pub is like about 3 stories high. It's quite a large building considering it's a pub. It's one of the most famous pubs in Waterdeep. I mean, granted, you guys may or may not know this. I think the person who probably would know it would be Pups. So, Pups, do you want to do a history check? Because you know, and we'll see how much you remember about this place. Great. Yeah, of course you do. You know every single thing about the Yawning Portal. So, like, for you, like, you know this is a really high adventurers pub. You know that there is some sort of challenge inside, but you don't know what that is. You don't know who runs it, but you know this is like a really, almost like a hallowed spot for adventurers in Waterdeep. You know, you go to the Yawning Portal if you're an adventurer, almost like a clubhouse of your favorite adventurers ever.
Baggi, this is the place. This is the place I was telling you about. This is the place where all like the big heroes. They all come after they've been on their like big adventures, and they drink and they fight, and it's where they had the fight yesterday. The fight.
Yeah. They had the fight here. Maybe we should go back then.
No.
What if they do that again? I don't want to be here if they do that again.
I'm
Maybe
ready.
we should go back. What do you think? Oshi, what should we do?
Well, since we're here and one of the windows is open. Pups, if you go near that window, I bet you could hear people talking.
Pups has already gone.
And literally, as you say that, this kind of tall, slender, actually, Yuan-Ti, let's do it to Yuan-Ti Pureblood, kind of walks past, sees you, just like takes a coin out of her pocket, flicks it to you. She's like,
And Oshi catches it with one hand.
She's like, let's do a dex check on that and see if you catch it.
Yeah.
Let's do let's do a straight dex. Well, just hit the dexterity and see what happens. And you're like, and she's just like, she just turns to you and she's like, kid, get yourself a milkshake. And it kind of like saunters into the pub themselves. You're just like, holy shit, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And you said there's an open window, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So the open window is on the first floor, so there's actually a floor above.
So, Pups?
Yeah. That was so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it is mine. But maybe you could... Tunk, come here. What about if Pups stood on your shoulders so it's a really big Tunk?
Big doggy Tunk.
Yeah.
Big King Doggy Tunk.
Yeah, Big King Doggy Tunk.
Okay, and you realise as you kind of look up, Pups, you see that there's a drain pipe that you probably could climb onto if you were standing on Tunk's shoulders.
Oh, I'm
And
so
most
excited.
of you could get up there if you were standing on Tunk's shoulders. So what we're going to do Tunk. You're going to do a strength check to start with. So let's do there's a skill. So let's do this as an athletics check because you're lifting everybody up.
Okie dokie. Athletics. Tunk's not feeling too strong.
Okay, so everyone's going to have disadvantage on their athletics checks now, climbing up. As Tunk is like, "Ugh." Okay. So who wants to kind of climbing up first?
Go on then.
Okay, so let's do a disadvantage. Let's do an athletics check to see how far you climb up.
I'll roll it twice. I don't have disadvantage on my sheet for my kid one, I don't think.
Or maybe not. Yeah, just roll it.
Athletics.
Just see when it comes up. Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't matter because you got nat ones throughout.
Oh my god, really? Oh dear lord.
As you try to kind of climb up, and you literally, the second you touch the drain pipe, you fall flat on your face, and you are now covered in mud.
Oh,
And no, fuck
God.
it, you're covered in horse muck as well. So you stink.
Oh.
And I think Baggi kind of looks at it, and it's like, So let's do a history check and see if you can figure out another way that you might be able to get into this place.
Oh, oops. I think I'm accidentally going to roll 3. Oh, no, hang on. Here we go. Oh!
Oh, great. Yeah, I'll take that. So you kind of like, so buildings. And you kind of look around it and you see there's like a little alleyway that goes down the side. You're like, maybe there's a way down there. And you kind of just start walking off and you just beckon the other guys to the side. So now let's do a perception check as you walk down that alleyway. Great.
Oh.
oh.
And what you see is there's like, those little small windows that are in basements.
Oh, yeah.
And you
So it's
see
like
one
on
of
ground.
those on ground level. You do see that you might need a little force to open. But you could probably open it if you tried.
Okay. I think I turn to the guys and I'm like, I'm going to try and open that window. Okay? Can you keep lookout though? Yeah? Yeah? And I think he sort of looks around, sees that there's like sort of some big sticks and like debris on the floor and things. Maybe I can sort of prise it open.
Yeah.
Let's kind of like.
Yeah, let's do it with advantage then, because you've got a little tool.
Yeah.
So we do let's do an athletics as you try and prise it open. That's good enough for me.
Baggy killing it with the rolls.
And you just pop it. You pop when it goes pop, like really loud. And you like.
I think I'm just like, oh my gosh, wasn't expecting it to work at all. And it's like, we're in. We can go in. So I think she sort of just like opens it fully and maybe has like a little look, but from a safe distance. And
She's like, stick your head
kind of
in.
looks to the rest of them like, I don't want to be the first one to go in.
Have you got dark vision?
I do have dark vision, yeah.
Great. So then you stick your head in, and the whole place is what you see is black and white because it's dark vision. But you see like an old, small, dusty like storeroom. It doesn't look like it's used very often. And there's like a door to the side, but it's slightly ajar, so you know it's not locked. But there's like some old wine and some barrels and stuff there. But it doesn't look like it's been used for a long time because the dust is undisturbed, should we say.
Okay. Cool. And I can see there's a door on the other side. It's a bit too dark, maybe for everyone else to get in. So I pop my head back up and I'm like, I found a way in. I think it's like a cellar, but it's really, really dark. So either I go in and try and open a door or find something to use as a light. What do you think I should do? Should I go in? Anyone?
Yes,
Anyone?
definitely.
Yeah? Okay. So I think she kind of takes a deep breath, and her plan is to get to the other side of the room to sort of see maybe what's on the other side of the door, / fully open the door. If there's nothing there, to maybe let some light into, the others could then come down and see what's going on a bit better.
So let's do, so you kind of stick your head through and you kind of squeeze in and then you kind of roll out the other side. So let's do a dex saving throw and just see if you land on your feet.
Okay, let me go. Da-da-da.
Perfect.
Great.
Oh, Baggy's just like killing it today.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
As you kind of like roll out, you know when you kind of roll through like on a bar in a park, and you can do that roll over, and your feet just touch the floor, and you kind of pop onto your feet. You kind of do that, and you kind of like silently land onto the floor, and you walk over to the other side, and you kind of peer through the door. So let's do a quick stealth and just see how quietly you open that door.
Stealth. Okay.
Great. And you silently open the door, and you notice there's a small candle sort of on the side. This is the main cellar that you can now see. And there's like barrels of beer, and this is definitely a used area. It's much cleaner than where you were before. But you can see a small candle kind of on the wall.
Great.
The sound of the pub above you is actually still quite loud. So it's obviously a busy pub today.
Cool. I think she definitely wants to get the candle, so she reaches up to try and really quietly get the candle.
Is it taller than you, do you think, or do you think you can get it quite easily, leaving that open to you?
I feel like probably got to go on tiptoes at least to get it. Okay. I think it's quite high up, yeah.
Well, that's fine. We'll take the tiptoes. So you kind of reach up and you kind of take hold of the candle and you come back into the room. And the guys outside, you notice that dusty window that's quite opaque kind of glows in like an orange light as she walks in with the candle.
What Oshi hasn't made known to Baggy is that she also has dark vision. So this whole time she had her head stuck in, just watching her, just to make sure she was okay, but doesn't tell her that that's what she was doing. Okay,
can we do a stealth check on that and see if she recognises if you did it?
Has it come up?
Yeah, cool. Ooh, yeah, you've done it nice and quietly. Yeah, you've watched her the whole time.
So I couldn't see in the dark too, but wanted to see if Baggy would do it by herself, and is really proud.
Meanwhile, Tunk is picking off the horse shit from Pups's from his back, going, "Smelly doggy, smelly doggy."
And you kind of like then all start coming in. So let's do dex checks from all of you to see how quietly or how gracefully you kind of fall into this place.
I've never wanted a natural one more in my life. We're doing a stealth or a dex?
Let's do dex saving throw.
Okay. Saving.
Oh.
Yeah, so Dan, can you re-roll that as a saving throw? Cool. Yeah, you're all fine. I think I keep saying Gabby, it's not Oshi. Oshi, literally, you're the one that, like, as you come through, you stand onto a barrel, you're like, and you fall, and Tunk is like, cunt. And he lowers you down.
Yeah, because she's still caught to him, so she doesn't have as much control. Yeah. She's still tied to his hand.
Yeah.
Tunk's like...
Yeah.
Picks her up like a marionette.
But you guys kind of get in nice and quietly, actually. and you kind of make your way through into this kind of larger cellar. There's a number of different stairways that kind of go up to the main floors above. Can someone do a perception and let's have a look around the space? Somebody who has wisdom.
I don't have wisdom.
Okay.
I don't have wisdom.
Who would look around?
Okay, Tunk's gonna get curiosity's gonna get the best of him as he's just discovered a new part of his kingdom.
Great.
Oh,
Looking.
Okay, so you see a number of stairs that go up. There's loads of barrels of beer around. There's like some meats that are hanging as well. But you do notice that there is a crack, like a broken floorboard in the corner. And there's like a barrel underneath it that you could probably climb up and get into the bar itself without having to use stairwells at all.
So Tunk, not really being able to put two and two together, has noticed the crack, but has become more entranced with the actual stonework of the building, and is kind of like running his hands along the cold of the stone, and then touching his face and going cold, hot, cold,
Okay.
hot.
Because you get some stone cunning, do you?
Stone cunning.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
let's have a look at that. What does stone cunning do? Let's have a look.
Well, I've realised with my severely low intelligence, it's probably not going to boost anything too much because if I make an intelligence or a history check related to the origin of stonework, you are considered proficient in the history check, in the history skill, and add double your proficiency bonus to the check. Instead
All
of
right.
more.
Well, that's
Wow.
great. I'm just going to change your history for that, just so we can do this roll. So we do proficiency is doubled, so it's like expertise essentially. History.
Tunk knows his stone.
There you go. Okay, so then in that case, you're rubbing the stone. So let's do that history check. Let's do the thing about what is the stone and what is like the construction of this building. I think that's going to help us kind of figure out how to get out.
Do you want me to roll history then?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Yeah, it's a cellar.
Tunk knows that he's underground right now.
But the main thing I think here is that he sees the shape of the rooms from the walls going down into the basement. And I think he's the first one to figure that out of like, oh, these are rooms like above us and in here. So he can kind of figure out
again.
he can see that there's like rooms. Okay, are we back?
Yeah.
A small technical difficulty there, as you can see. We've got the wonderful Skype symbols up as we are using Skype. We are not any supported by Skype at any point, but just letting you know that the logos are there. Oh, and then we're back. Okay, good. So it's the first time you realise that actually these are rooms, and you can kind of figure out the room shapes. One that does freak you out though is a really deep circular one that's in the centre. And that one goes down as well as up, and that one is instantly you feel a little bit scared of that circular one. But the other rooms, you see that they're in the corner. Actually, where that crack is, there is a small room, tiny room. It's not very big at all, maybe 15 feet by 10 foot, and it's just like a tiny little room that's on the side there.
So Tunk then, seeing this and curiosity taking the better of him, starts to go into that room, just gently whispering, "Sheep, sheep."
Okay, let's do an athletics to climb up.
Tunk is not doing well today.
As literally what you guys see is Tunk like gets onto the floorboard, gets onto the thing, that's lifted himself up, and you just see those little feet like this. I'll give you a second to decide if you want to do anything with that.
I'm gonna go under and like.
Cool. Okay, so we'll take the 11 then as the advantage, and you kind of help him climb up. And as you come up, you realise that you're actually in between a wall, in the back corner of the building, but you're in a room that's not a room. But it allows you to be able to hear the bar next to you.
So Tunk then kind of turns around and goes, "Thank you, doggy," and then turns back, oblivious to the fact that the rest of the group might want to get up, and just kind of like snuggles into the room, looking around at the stone.
So what do the rest of you guys do?
Oshi shouts Tunk back and asks him to put his hand back down, but just one hand and one arm up to his shoulder.
Okay, how loudly do you do that?
She starts quite quietly, but then realizes that Tunk is still whispering
Okay.
sheep, so has to get a little bit louder.
Okay. Luckily, at the moment you go, Tunk, there's like a cheer, and what you can hear is like, bark it, bark it, bark it, bark it, bark it. As you hear like a squeaking sound of like a winch. And then that circular room that's next to you, you can hear like something going down it. And you hear the crowd, bark it, bark it, bark it. Tunk, you're like, whoa. And you kind of peer your little eye through a little crack in the wall. And what you see is this kind of like bold human with a rapier like this being lowered into a well in the centre of the pub. Like cheering the bucket as he's lowered down into the well.
So Tunk comes back, pops his head out, and just starts going, bark it, to the rest of the group.
What have you seen? What is it?
Bucket.
Is there a big bucket in that place up there? Is that
Yeah.
what you mean?
Yeah, King Tunk's bucket.
Okay. Is there anything else up there?
Yeah, you want to see?
Yeah.
So Tunk kind of puts his hands down to help.
Okay, cool. So that's going to mean that we're going to get some advantage on that lift as you help them up. So let's see if we can climb up. Something today. So let's do an athletics check. As you climb up, we granted you're 8-year-old, so you know we can't be mad that you can't climb up stuff. Okay, cool.
Is this everyone?
Let's do everyone as you kind of climb up. Yeah, cool. All right. So as they kind of come up, Baggi sort of sat there and it's like, starts to try to lift herself up, and it was really, really struggling to do so, and falls backwards and hurts herself. So you're going to take a little injury. So we're going to say you're injured. So you've got like a cut across your leg.
Mm.
Just so anybody who's watching is wondering why we just said injured instead of hit points. I didn't necessarily want to deal with kids dying in our game, so I've taken something from Tales from the Loop, which is a great RPG and also a great TV show. Actually, I really enjoyed it. But what they do there is this idea of being injured, broken, or damaged, because kids don't die, and I don't really want kids dying. So essentially, Baggi's just taken an injury, so we'll need to see Matron in order to get that fixed. So I think you say that you kind of end up getting up, but from now on, like anything to do with like physical stress, you'll have disadvantage on until you can get it fixed. But you kind of get pulled up into this little room, and you can hear like the sound starts fading down outside from the bucket noise, and you all try to fight to try and get into this hole to kind of see what's going on. And the bucket comes up, and the bucket's empty. And then the pub thing sort of quiets down a bit. and you kind of realise that you are about 3 meters away from a table, and these kind of like drunkards are sat there. There is a... trying to think of what they are now. Let me have a think. There is a like a carpenter sat there, and you know he's a carpenter because he's got like wood on him. That makes him a carpenter, right? And he's like
just carrying 2 4x4s.
Exactly. No, let's not do that. Okay, so there's like there is a human female, and she is sort of sat there. She's in robes, and she kind of comes over and instantly just lights the candle, and she kind of sits down. And then some more people start joining her. So like a gnome turns up, another half orc turns up, and this dwarf turns up. And they start talking about like where they've been, and it's that kind of pissing contest chat. It's just like, I went into a dungeon and I saw the biggest troll you've ever seen. And the other one was like, I went and I fought an invisible beholder, and it was horrible. It was really horrible. It was nasty. And then another one is like, well, let me tell you a story of a citadel that sunk into the ground. I'm like, what? It's like it all started in a small village called Oakenhurst. And then your mind start playing through, and you start to imagine yourselves as these characters in Oakenhurst. So we're going to go straight through into the Sunless Citadel. This is our first story. Yeah, so for those at home, these are our wonderful characters, as we can see, drawn by their own very hands. As we can kind of see see our new wonderful characters come through. So just quickly then, should we just go through and say what we're all playing as our first class in this first adventure? So Oshi, what are you playing?
Playing a rogue in this first adventure.
Yeah, so this first adventure is from 1 to 4. So you just play as a standard rogue at level 1. That's amazing. Pups.
I am playing as a paladin.
Goblin paladin.
Yeah,
yes.
Goblin paladin, yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Tunk.
Tunk is, true to form, a barbarian.
Dwarf barbarian. And then Baggi.
Baggi is a fighter.
Amazing. Great. So in the sort of northeast of Neverwinter, on the other side of the hills, is a very small little village called Oakenhurst. I think it's Oakhurst, or is it Oakenhurst or Oakhurst? This is me getting it wrong before you even started. Which is always a good chance, isn't it? Let's have a look. Nope, that's not it. Oakhurst. Definitely got it wrong before we started. So there's a small village called Oakhurst, and the 4 of you kind of arrive into town, and because it's true to form, you kind of like, you instantly go towards, actually no, you come into the town, you kind of over the hill, and it is towards the midwinter, sorry. So the snow is falling and it's extremely cold. And the village itself is literally a main road, and it kind of cuts across as well into like a cross section. But other than that, there's only about 3 or 4 kind of major buildings. One of which is a nice little tavern, which we're going to call. What should we call the tavern? Guys, any ideas for a tavern name?
The Acorn Inn.
Acorn Inn, perfect. So the Acorn Inn, it's got this beautiful golden, actually it's brass acorn that sort of hangs off the side, and the wind is howling in your hair, and the frost is sort of blowing onto Tunk's beard, and sort of that you have those little frosty moments all over the beard as you kind of come in, and you reveal your cloaks. Okay, so at this point I want to see what you imagine yourselves to look like. Of course, we can change genders, we can change whatever you like, but your race is always the same, and your class changes. So let's go with Oshi. Oshi, what do you look like? What do you look like?
Oshi has a really beautiful, heavy cloak tied around her neck, and then she's got kind of an all-in-one, really wide leg trouser suit, but at the bottom of it, it's tied so she can keep things down the leg of her trousers. She's got really heavy, big boots on that she ties her trousers into, and she just has a choker around her neck with a snake pendant that hangs from it.
Nice. And Tunk?
Tunk's mustache has eventually grown into a kind of like almost belly button length beard. Thick, and the question of are there small birds living in there has been arisen. He wears a kind of all black kind of piece of armor with golden lion heads on the shoulders, and carries with him a big silver warhammer, which is nearly the size of him, with importantly, a helmet with just one horn on it.
Ooh, helmet with one horn, very nice. So is he going with Tunk One Horn as a name for his character?
Tunk One Horn, we'll call it. Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Okay, and Baggi.
She is literally like dripping in like chainmail, like armor, all that kind of stuff. Loads of weapons on her. Takes off a cloak, and I feel like she has some kind of cockroach, like bronzed thing somewhere on her body as like her kind of mark and her stamp. Yeah.
Take some inspiration for that. Great. Okay, and then Pups.
So Pups is wearing like a dark chainmail that goes all the way sort of past the knee, and then a bear, like a bear skin cloak where like the hood comes up like the head, and then in like a circle going down.
Cool.
And dual wielding axe and war pick.
Yeah, so you've got those things in like put away for now, and you guys are like these heroes, and essentially you've heard of this great dungeon, this place called Sunless Citadel. Once an amazing kind of castle in its own right, thousands of years old, that kind of fell during the spell plague, I think it is, and you've kind of come hunting for it, but you kind of know that Oakhurst is sort of the general area that has been. So you kind of march into, you kind of walk into the Acorn Inn. I've just found out what it's actually called, but I'm going with Acorn Inn because it's much better. And you kind of go in it, and it's a very, very quiet pub. But the fire is nice and warm, and the beer is sort of, the smell of the beer and smell of soup is kind of strong in your nose. The bar is like right in front of you, but there's a bunch of tables around as well.
So as Tunk kind of walks in, Tunk wants an entrance. So the door is heavy-handedly, like kind of loudly pushed. And all of these 4 adventurers start to walk in, and Tunk, kind of taking off his hood, just goes, "Hello."
It's like, hello? says the landlady behind the bar. Do you need a drink? You're not even wearing a cloak. It's sort of like this bare-chested, half naked, like.
Tunk's bodily hair also functions as a light cape. And upon the request of a drink, Tunk goes, yes, thank you, beer lady. Tunk would like 1 frothy mug.
And you go over to a table and you kind of sit down, and she's like, and kind of looks over at the rest of you, sort of raising your cloaks off, and she's like, please, it's the table, it's warm your souls. Can I get you something to drink?
She's kicking snow off from her boots when the landlady says this, and she rushes over to the bar and gets the hottest, most alcoholic drink she can get to warm her hands with.
Okay. So she goes over and she's just like, well, we've got some mulled cider here.
Perfect.
And she kind of pours out, and as you pour it out, you notice that she's using like a ceramic cup. And you kind of pours it in, and as a drip kind of falls onto the table and burns the table instantly. She's like, a little spicy.
2.
And she pours another one. And for you?
Do you have any hot chocolate?
It's like, let me have a look. And she kind of goes down, she looks around. And she kind of brings out, again, this incredibly, it almost looks like a chocolate, like, fondant, like flowy fountain. And she's like, it's expensive.
How much is it?
It'll be, that's 5 gold pieces for chocolate. It's very rare in winter. Sure you don't want some cider?
No, I'll take the chocolate.
He like scoops it up and like measures it and puts it down. As you say, there you are. And you go and sit at the table. And you have a chance to kind of talk to amongst each other about like kind of what you would like to do here. Is this the right place? Is that kind of conversation? So you have some time to kind of talk to people in the pub if you want to.
So Tunk's just gonna listen for the time being and listen to any conversations that he can hear. He's here for adventure, so he's listening for anything that might be give him reason to believe there's an adventure waiting.
Okay, let's do a perception check. Let's have a look.
All right. Tunk, the bumbling idiot, with a -1 perception.
It's not bad.
That's not bad, actually. What you overhear is that you hear that this is about the right time. Someone says, well, you know, midwinter's come in, and it's usually time the goblins turn up and give us that apple. Usually that white apple. It's usually about this sort of time, innit? And then Jerry's like, yeah, Jerry, yeah. And he's like, thanks, Jerry. And they're all called Jerry for some unknown reason. It's like, and he talks about how the midwinter celebrations is around this this white apple that gets left by the goblins of the area. And that's kind of what you overhear with an 11.
Tunk relays that to the group, kind of saying, Tunk hears about apples. Should we look for the apples?
What kind of apples?
White apples. And Tunk kind of, as he says it, he goes like, whoa.
Do I know about these apples?
I mean, you could try. I mean, it's very localized information.
Okay.
But you could do a nature check to see if you know any white apples.
Okay. I was more thinking in terms of being a goblin.
I mean, it's
Oh no. No.
in terms of being a goblin, a lot of goblins work in tribes and work very individually from each other. Culture is more about that individual tribe and that area. I think you're maybe a different area than this space. So this is quite different for you. A white apple you've not really heard of before. Very, very unusual. It's not something that you've come across before. And there's some more people are in the pub chatting. There are people around that if you do want to go and have a chat with them. Of course, there's also the bar person as well if you want to go talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have a chat with the someone who looks very local. Someone who looks like they spend most of the time in the pub. Okay.
You see this old dude. He's got a really red nose from the amount of alcohol he drinks. He sat down in a corner near the fire, and he's just sort of like chewing his beer. Do you know someone who chews their beer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's chewing his beer, and he's sat down in the corner.
I think I'll take over another beer from the bar. Just plop it down.
Thanks.
Jerry, was it?
No.
Oh, my apologies, friend. What is your name?
My name is Thanks for the Pint.
An interesting name there, friend. Tell me, what do you know of this white apple?
I thought you were going to give me a white apple, Goblin.
What do you mean?
Every year you lot turn up with an apple, a white one. Yeah, we've learnt not to touch it.
And I'm going to skip over you lot and ask why would you not touch the white apple, friend?
It's poisonous. Every time someone's gone to pick it up, they become ill, sick.
That's terrible.
It used to be a thing that during the summer months they would turn a red apple, but now they've moved to a winter.
How did this all begin?
It's something that's happened for a long time. Long time. But the white apple's only been happening for the last 15 years.
It's so terrible. Why don't you do something about it?
Do you know what? There were some people just like you that came through. They haven't been seen for a long time.
What happened?
There was a fighter called Talgan, a wizard, Sharwin, and a paladin. I'm guessing a bit like you, Sir Brayford, and of course a ranger, Caracas. They all came just to see what was going on. I haven't seen him since he even took his sword, Shatter Spike, with him. Didn't help him much.
Where did they go?
Looking for the citadel, of course, like everybody else.
Of course. And how long ago was this? When did they leave?
Just give me a sec. It was only in the last 3 months or so. You know what? You're the only third. You're the third person who's come along talking about the citadel.
Who were the others?
Oh, it was a long time ago. 13 year. The grim-looking human called Belek. Had a really large pet frog. Very strange.
So nothing for 13 years and then 2 in a row. Does that not strike you as strange?
Yeah, it's a proper fucking mystery. He carries on drinking.
Pups stands up, gives a silent nod, and then as he walks back to the table says, "One more drink on me, friend.
Thank you.
Perhaps for your name."
My name. Thanks for the pint. And he just carries on drinking.
And Pups goes back to the table and tells them what he's heard. Tells them about the goblins and the White Apple and the Citadel and the other adventurers, and suggests that maybe the Citadel might be an interesting first place to start in search of an adventure.
And as you said, this bar person sort of clearing the glasses. She's like, the Citadel? Off to the Citadel, are we?
Tunk is looking for the White Apple.
I need to wait a couple more days and it'll turn up right here. But the Citadel, we kind of know where it is. None of us really kind of want to go up there. Full of goblins, like yourselves. A lot of my customers have got cattle. Get frightened of monsters that go through the night. Horrible. Lots of needle-like wounds covered all over their body. But, you're strong adventurers. Sure, you'll be fine.
Thank you, beer lady. At that, Tunk kind of stands up and having heard that the gentleman across the room, the thanks for the pint, was rude to Pups, kind of walks up to him, grabs him by the scruff of the neck, and says, "You say sorry to Doggy."
Okie dokie. So let's let me just get a thing up for it. Okay, so can you do? So you're gonna grab him.
Yeah.
Let's just do a strength check and just see, because this guy's drunk anyway, so it's gonna be fine. So let's do a strength check. Athletics, as you kind of go to grab hold of him and sort of lift him up off the ground.
Athletics.
Yeah. And you kind of go to grab him and like, you sort of like lift him like maybe an inch off the ground. You go, sorry, to Doggy. And the guy's like, fuck off.
So Tunk walks back to the group and says, "He said sorry to Doggy."
As you kind of all sit down.
Thank you, Tunk.
Thank you, Doggy.
As you kind of like know that this is sort of the spot that should be somewhere for this adventure. You know that there is something in this area that you're kind of looking for. Baggy, what are you doing at this time?
You're muted, Bags.
So, just having a little technical. Let's. Okay. Oh dear. Hope you lost Baggy.
Baggy's really enjoying that chocolate milk.
It's okay. Do you want to go out and come back in, Baggy? Cool. Yeah, because I've just got a smiling face on the screen as well. I think she's been smiling for a while. I don't know how long Baggy's been not in the call.
She went out for a bit and then came back, but it was still struggling. We could see her camera. You see what she's saying.
Yeah. Sorry about this, dear viewers, as we're just having a small technical problem. As you probably have already noticed and let us know on the Twitch channel, we've had lots and lots and lots of problems throughout. But this is fine. So as soon as she gets back to us, it will be okay. Just bear with us a second.
Oh, that's lovely that people are feeding back there. That's really nice.
Yeah, we've had a few like, you're all frozen. I was like, yeah. So sorry about this, guys. The other thing is we can maybe finish it in earlier today if we've got that technical problem with Baggy's camera, which I think might be an idea. I know maybe we can kind of come back next time and kind of go forth into this dungeon. Let's just bear with us a few seconds. Okay. So at the moment, you kind of know that there is this thing called Sunken Citadel inside this town, that there is an apple that is arrived by goblins at the midwinter. You're also aware that there is also some of the cattle around the area have been struggling with deaths with needle-like attacks all over them. And you know that these other adventurers have disappeared, namely, what were their names? Did anyone write them down?
I did not.
Okay, first rule. Make sure you do write stuff down because I will check on you every time.
Okay.
Yeah, so Taugen, Sharwin, Sir Brayford, and Caracas. You know, have kind of gone missing.
And what was the other guy with the big frog? Oh, with the unfortunate name.
Belek, yeah. Justin Belek. No, it's just Belek.
Taugen, Sharwin, Sir Brayford, and
Caracas, yeah.
Caracas. Okay.
And did the frog.
Yeah, Balak had a pet frog, yeah.
Okay.
But it's sort of a known location in the town, so you guys know where it is.
Mm.
It's more now that you are thinking about what's going on around it. You're almost like snooping for information. So what I'm going to suggest, as we've lost Baggy. Oh, that's Baggy. Oh, is it by magic? Has she returned? Oi! Baggy.
I mean, I don't know if Baggy's going to go back into a hot chocolate coma or not at any moment. We're going to roll with it.
Okay. So we were just going through the info that we know. And of course, Baggy hasn't done anything yet. So what was Baggy doing during this time?
Well, I feel like during this time, she was very much... I think she got up from the table with her hot chocolate, really enjoying it, wandered around the pub, just kind of listening in on various different conversations. You know, she had some people just talking about stuff that seemed irrelevant or boring. She heard a few things about goblins, and that's kind of it.
Okay, cool. So I think you guys have like the location, as I was saying to the guys just now, the location, you know where the Citadel kind of is. because it's a bit of like a landmark. You know, it's this huge hole with a building that seems to be at the bottom of it. And it's about 3 miles north of where you are. You guys have got some supplies with you, so you've got some water and some rations and stuff, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you're kind of like all set in that way, but is there anything else that you would like to kind of take with you that you might want to kind of take with, like any more objects or anything you want to go to shops with, anything like that, and try and buy before you go?
Maybe some arrows?
Okay, well, you've got 20 arrows with you, I think.
Have I?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you do. I think you're loaded up in that way.
Maybe like a liter of the really hot cider.
Okay, good. So let's say, like, all in all, so you take a litre of cider, so add that to your inventory. You've got like a litre of cider with you. So I think all in all, because of the chocolate being so expensive, you're looking at about 7 gold pieces all in all that you just spent together.
Mm-hmm.
That includes the pints as well. For thank you for the pint. And you kind of pay that off at the bar, and the landlady is just like, "Oh, off already?" She says to Oshi.
Yes, we have places to see and people to speak to.
Of course.
And have you heard about the strange goings on with the cows?
Yes, I have. Very, very strange.
Yeah.
And no one
And
seems
is
to have
that-
seen the creatures that cause this problem.
Oh.
They don't seem to leave any trails leading away from the cattle, but the deaths are there. The cattle are hurt, and of course, the economy hurts because of that.
Yeah, of course. And is it every farm here or specific farms?
Well, now they've started bringing them closer in. They don't tend to graze them so far out. It's mostly people that were taking their cattle out, maybe north.
Ah, okay. Okay. So north is the place not to go because of these creatures.
Well, I'm sure for somebody as sneaky and as brave as you. And she kind of looks over at you and sort of blushes slightly.
I don't know about that. And then Oshi puts her hood back up.
And she says, will you be in town long?
And Oshi, all the landlady can kind of see now is her really white teeth, and she smiles, and she can just see the like nod of Oshi's head under the hood as Oshi goes back to the table to try and gather up everybody, whilst putting a litre of cider down her trouser leg into her boobs.
Nice. So the leaving scene we're going to have is you guys kind of getting up together and sort of starting to walk back out into the cold. You open those doors and that wind sort of blows through as you put your hoods up and walk out into the storm. Okay, so I think we're gonna leave that there for today, and then what we'll do is next week we'll pick up from you guys walking down towards the citadel and kind of getting into the dungeon itself. But I want to say thank you very much for playing. I hope everybody at home's enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And we'll be back again on Sabotage the DM at 4 till 7 next Monday. But of course, we'll be uploading these videos to YouTube as well. So please do stay in contact. Also, if you do fancy being a guest character, please do get in contact, and maybe we can throw you in as a guest fighter somewhere in the dungeon. All right. Well, thank you very much. I love you all, and we'll see you.